You hear your stomach calling.
It's shouting!
Burrito! Burrito! Burrito!
Let's gather our ingredients and build this the Aussie way every day. Make it wild, make it savory, make it loud, just like Aussie would. No utensils needed, scarf it down and build another one. Have 900, just like Aussie. Aussie's October burrito.
Hear your stomach calling.
Aussie's October burrito.
Hear your stomach calling.
They're all messed up.
Howdy, gang. And gotta fix my font here because that's one thing I forgot. Not that it really matters, but welcome to another edition of They're All Messed Up, and we're going to be talking about Death Carries a Cane and Death Smiles on a Murderer here in just a little bit. I think both of these are from 1973. Death Carries a Cane is directed by Maurizio Produ. I'm probably massacring that name. And Death Smiles on a Murder is directed by Joe D'Amato, which is a name that I am familiar with. And we're going to talk all about these movies and the kills in them. And of course, as always, I'm going to give my rating on these as well. But I'm going to get some housekeeping stuff out of the way. I do apologize that this is quite a bit later than I wanted to have it. I wanted to have this one at 9 o'clock like I've been doing the other streams. However, I got caught late, working late today because I was showing another team member how to do ticket triage, because in addition to the other late Friday duties, they're going to be doing ticket triage because I won't be there. So I think that's good that we're going to have somebody covering that. I've thought that we needed that all along, but now it's I guess come to the right person's attention, and we're getting people trained on that so they can do that. But anyway, that's why it took me a little bit longer, because I had to get the movies watched. These movies both seem familiar, but I was not sure if I had seen them all. I mean, it could have been that Steve was watching them and I saw parts of them. So I wanted to make sure before I got on here tonight that I had watched them fully, so that I could talk about them. not just the kills, but talk about the storyline. What else is going on? I'm not sure about tomorrow, what will drop tomorrow, but I will have something in any event, so y'all can look forward to that. No watch alongs this weekend. You got another week, and that is because I was planning to go to Horror Hound this weekend. Unfortunately, due to financial, a little bit of financial strain, I'm trying to save money, and I opted not to go to Horror Hound this time. I'm still planning on going to Scarefest. So hopefully I'll be able to, get some footage from inside of Scarefest. I don't know if I'll get to talk to any celebrities or anything, because, I'm going to try to get a media pass, but a media pass still does not guarantee you're going to get to go up and do interviews with people. It merely, gets you into the convention free, which is always good. But again, there's no guarantee that you're going to get to talk to anybody just because you have that media pass. A media pass is not something that you pay for. It's something that you apply for, and then the promoters or whoever decide, apparently, who gets one or not. So, no watch alongs this weekend, but I already have programming lined up for next week. If you haven't checked that out, please do. There's a Evil Dead Chicks excellent movie reviews up where I talk about the 4Ks from Scream Factory. I know I'm a little delayed in talking about them, but I did eventually get a Evil Dead Chicks excellent movie reviews talking about the 4Ks of Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 from Scream Factory. And I give them all my thoughts on those two releases. There's a bunch of other stuff on the channel. Be sure to check out any and all things that might pique your interest. And so I think, other than to tell you to, if you haven't, hop on over to deadiceondeck.com when you get a chance. There's lots of new designs on there, and more are coming, folks. Plus, there's blended teas and scented candles and just all kinds of fun and horrific stuff. I'm soon going to be putting parody designs up that you can get on t-shirts and tote bags and mouse pads and what have you. That's something to remember. If you're not really a t-shirt person, never fear. I have other products that I can put these designs on. In fact, I have the Lethal Ladies Inc. official design on. Candace and I are still planning on, at some point, selling at conventions. We just don't know exactly when. Also, for those of you that were here early enough, you saw the Aussie's October Burrito promo. I am going to be doing a movie munchies. I haven't done one in a while, but for October 26th, the Sunday before Halloween, I'm going to be doing, I'm going to try to do an Aussie level burrito. I have done my research and looked up what fans imagine Aussie's burrito was, his burrito order from Chipotle, because apparently that was his favorite place to go for burritos. And Aussie loved burritos. For anybody that's seen that the Osbournes episode where it was all about burritos and Aussie's love of them. And so you can look forward to that as well. I also have Evil Dead Chicks, Hideous Halloween Slumber Party. And we're going to be watching not one, not two, but 3 films together that night. Halloween from 1978, Halloween 2, and Halloween 3, folks. So be sure to bring your trick-or-treat bag of candy and join me for Evil Dead Chicks Hideous Halloween Slumber Party. All right. So now that we got all the housekeeping stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and get to these movies, shall we? So, Death Carries a Cane, again from 1973, directed by Maurizio Prado. So we had a total of 6 deaths in this one. There were more deaths in the second film. But what are these deaths? So we have a woman that's stabbed to death, a man's throat slashed with a razor, a woman's throat slashed with a razor. There's a lot of slashing going on in Death Carries a Cane. Um, a woman stabbed in the throat, a man shot, and another woman's throat slashed. And it's a typical Giallo type of film. It also reminded me a little bit of Hitchcock's Rear Window, and also of Argento's Deep Red, where someone from afar is seeing a murder happen and they have to convince the cops that what they saw was real. And it's a murder mystery basically. And the only thing I didn't like about this movie is, and if you're a fan of Susan Scott, more power to you. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody can't be a fan of Susan Scott. She does get naked in this as well as a couple other pretty ladies. Susan Scott's attractive. I'm not saying that, but um, her acting's not that great. And the dubbing was atrocious in this movie. I mean, sometimes dubbing is okay, but it just didn't, work for this movie. The storyline was fine. I just, after a while, I was like, do we have to see this again of Susan Scott going and putting her hands up to her face during the last 10 to 15 minutes of the movie? As the killer is approaching her. I think Susan Scott was the one that Steve told me that she was in a lot of films because of her husband or something. I don't know. But if you're a Susan Scott fan, hey, who am I to say, don't watch her? I mean, you can watch her all you want, but frankly, I don't think she's that good of an actress. But like I said, the storyline is good. Giallo level, killings in this. Basically a black glove killer who's, their face is covered. They got like a trench coat on and a hat and stuff like that. That's typical of Giallos. And it wasn't a bad story overall. And the killings were decent in this. And if I was to give it a rating, I'd go ahead and give it a 4 Deadites out of 5 because the story was good. Besides Susan Scott mugging for the camera and stuff like that. And she didn't start out like that. It was just, maybe it was partly the director's fault. Who knows? Maybe they told her to act like that. Her performance was a little wooden too. But it wasn't as bad at the beginning of the film as it was towards the end of the film. All right. And I neglected to show, it does have a pretty cool poster. I mean, that's your typical Giallo poster, folks. You've got the razor, you've got the black gloves, you've got the woman being menaced. So it's got all the hallmarks of a Giallo film. All right. So the next film, and I'm going to make sure that I have the poster up here for Death Smiles on a Murderer. And although that doesn't look like him much, that is Klaus Kinski. Klaus Kinski does have a part in it. It's kind of smaller than I was expected. I expected him to be in it longer. And they, spoiler, folks, they kill good old Klaus off pretty early in the film. He plays a doctor who's trying to discover how to stop people from dying, basically. And he thinks he's found it. in this woman named Greta, this young woman named Greta, who has a gold pendant or medallion or whatever you want to call it, that has a formula on it. It has Greta's name on it, and it also has a formula that he says is the secret to life after death, basically. You can bring somebody back to life with this formula. And Greta got this from her brother, who there are a lot of weird scenes in this movie, and I'm going to get to those here in just a second. But I do want to talk about the kills in it, because even though I wasn't really, Death Carries a Cane had a better story than Death Smiles on a Murder, which again, I like I said earlier, it's directed by Joe D'Amato. A man has a pole run through him in a stagecoach crash, which is pretty gruesome. A woman is shot in the face. A man is strangled, and that's good old Klaus. He gets strangled. A man is beat to death. A woman's head is bashed in. A man slashed to death with a razor. A man nailed to a wall. And a man clawed to death by a cat. So there's a total of 8 deaths total in Death Smiles on a Murder. The kills were decent in this. But I got kind of bored with it. And only an hour and 24 minutes for me to get bored, I think it needed more punch to it. But it's supposed to take place in the 1900s, the early 1900s. And the stagecoach crash that happens, Greta is inside, and she is in shock, supposedly, according to the doctor, played by Klaus Kinski. And the crash happens outside this elaborate estate of this husband and wife. And the husband and wife, there's some, like I said, there's some weird stuff that goes on in here. There's lesbian action. It's just like Greta is irresistible to both females and males. And there's plenty of nudity, as is usual with Joe D'Amato films. I like a fair amount of Joe D'Amato stuff. It just seemed that this one was a little slow. So once Greta has been with this couple for a while, and she's slept with both of them, basically, the wife, I don't know, I guess she gets jealous and walls Greta up, a la Edgar Allan Poe style, and tells her husband when he comes home that evening that Greta just left, disappeared. And about that time, Greta starts showing up, and sometimes she looks like the beautiful blonde woman, and other times she looks like this corpse. And people begin dying in gruesome ways, just like I outlined a little bit earlier. And spoiler alert, I'll give you a few minutes to, plug your ears or whatever, in case you don't want to hear this. It turns out that some doctors, including the father of the man that she was staying at his house after the stagecoach crash, was apparently a doctor that helped her was trying to help her have her baby. And apparently the baby died, I think, and she died as well. But her brother, because he had the formula to make her come back to life, she comes back, and she keeps coming back. But apparently her brother was a perv too, because there's a scene where he's ripping her clothes off and they're in bed together. And so I'm like, okay, this is just, but again, that's on par for Joe D'Amato films. There's a lot of that kind of stuff in Joe D'Amato films and other films that are not Joe D'Amato films. A lot of these foreign films go in places that a lot of American films wouldn't go into. Um, so um, I like the kills better in this than Death Carries a Cane. It's just that the film itself, even in an hour and 24 minutes, seemed a little slow. So I'm gonna at best give this one 3.5 deadites out of 5. Because it wasn't awful. Um, it just didn't move along at a good pace for me. Um, so as always, these things aren't really meant to be very long. And truth be told, they probably just should be a video. But I like to get on here just in case anybody wants to come in, and discuss stuff in the chat, which nobody did tonight, or, possibly come on live on the stream with me. I know I didn't put the link up, but, I need to start doing that again. In case there are some of you that would like to come on here and discuss these movies with me. Maybe we can have a little healthy debate back and forth about these movies. I love me a good healthy debate. So I guess that's all for me for tonight, but I want to thank those of you that I saw popping in here at different times as I was talking about these movies. And won't be a lot going on this weekend. I may put something up, a video or something like that. So you might want to be on the lookout for that. And I will be doing something on Friday. So it'll be a surprise. So y'all be on the lookout for all of that. But I want to thank those of you also that will watch this on the replay, because I know not everybody has time to be in every live that everybody does out there. So I thank you as well. And as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Thursday night, folks. It's Friday tomorrow. I hope a lot of you, if not all of you, are off for the weekend from work. So get out there and blast some Aussie and try your best to live the Aussie way. And as always, what I mean by that is don't stay stuck in the past, folks. Move forward into the future through the present, and never, ever give up on your dreams. I love each and every one of you out there, and I'll see everybody next time.